All right, class, I'm going to take you through the review for your first test. Let's look at problem number 1. It says to define your variables and write an equation for each of the following situations. All right, when you have a chart like this, your variables that you create are going to be the headings of the chart, okay? Number of months and amounts saved. So those are the two things we need in a variable for. So we could just do N for number of months. And this step is very important. You've got to define your variables on these. And then amount saved, we'll just call that A for amount saved. All right, and then on a chart, your right column is going to equal your something to do with your left column. Okay, you're going to get your right column by doing something with your left column. So we can start with the right column, amount saved. Okay, if you look at this chart, it says amount saved equals what? Okay, now we have to figure out what the chart is trying to say. Well, in the first month, you save $150. The second month, you save $300. Third month, $450. So what are we having to do to the number of months to be able to get the amount saved? Okay, since it's kind of going up by $150, I think what's happening is we're multiplying number of months by 150. Okay, so what we're doing is we're taking 150 times the number of months, and that will give you amount saved. Okay, so like I said, typically you're going to be using this. This will be on your left. This will be on your left. This will equal something. Okay, so the column on your right will equal something to do with this column, whether that's multiplied by this number, multiplied by a certain number, or whatever. So this is the equation on number 1. A equals 150 times N. All right, let's look at the number of gallons of paint used is 3 times the number of rooms to paint. When it's written in words like this, it's kind of almost done for you, okay? We need variables for a couple of things. The first thing we need a variable for is the number of gallons of paint used, okay? When you see the word is, that typically means equals, okay? And then 3 times, so we have 3 times the number of rooms to paint, so we need a variable for that as well. So those are the two things we need a variable for. We'll just use N for the number of gallons used. And we'll just use R for the number of rooms to paint. And then from that point, you just replace the things that I've underlined with your variables. So number of gallons of paint used, that's N. So N equals 3 times the number of rooms to paint, R. So our equation then is N equals 3R. Okay, you may have used different variables, and that's okay too. All right, let's look at 3 and 4. Number 3, it's 14 is increased by X. So increased by usually indicates addition. So this one you should get 14 plus X. You could also get X plus 14. That would work as well. All right, on number 4, we have to pay attention because this thing says less than. 16 less than twice Y. Well, twice Y, twice means you're multiplying something by 2. So we know we're going to multiply this Y by 2. Now, it says less than. Remember, less than is that tricky set of words where you kind of have to reverse what you're putting in. So instead of starting with 16, we're going to start with the 2y. So we start with 2y, and then we take 16 away from it. So that should be your answer, 2y minus 16. All right, on the next ones, it's very important that you follow order of operations. Order of operations, we do PEMDAS. Okay, we start with our parentheses, which we do have some parentheses there. So I'm going to get 18 plus 3 squared divided by 6 minus 3, which is 3. Okay? So I have 18 plus 3 squared divided by 3. Okay, we've done parentheses. Now we need to do exponents. We have an exponent in there. So we get 18 plus 9 divided by 3. Okay, now I do multiplication division from left to right. So I leave this 18 plus 9 alone right now, okay? Because I've got a division out here I need to do first. So we get 18 plus 9 divided by 3 is 3. And that whole thing will give you 21. All right, on the next one, We don't have any parentheses or exponents. We're going to go right to multiplication, division, left to right. We're going left to right. We first come across 8 divided by 2. So we get 4 plus 4 plus, now we can do the 6 times 2, which is 12. And we just add all these together. We get 4 plus 4 plus 12. That's 8 plus 12, which is 20. Okay, let's go ahead and look at page 2. Okay, on number 7, it says to evaluate for each expression on 7 through 10. So on 7, we're going to plug 5 in for x. All right, so we get 5, and then we're going to put parentheses the 5 because that's what we're plugging in, plus 4. So we get 25 plus 4, which gives you 29. All right, on letter 8, or number 8, we're going to put 2/3 in for A, 5/6 in for B. So it's A over B. So we're going to take 2/3 divided by 5/6. Now when we divide fractions, if you remember, we take the second fraction and we flip it. So we're going to get 2/3. We got to change it to multiplication. Flip the second fraction, so we get 6 over 5. Okay, so we get 12 over 15. But then that reduces. Each top and bottom will divide by 3. So if we divide top and bottom by 3, you get 4/5. All right, let's go ahead and look at number 9. All right, number 9, we've got some absolute values to contend with here. 6 plus 2, remember I'm going to put parentheses what I'm plugging in, which is 7. All right, so we have absolute value of 6 plus 2 times 7 is 14. So we get the absolute value of 20, which equals just 20. All right, the only time the absolute value makes a huge difference is if that had been negative 20, it would have made it 20. All right, on number 10, we have 2d minus 3 over 5. We're going to put 9 in parentheses where the d is. So we get 2 times 9 minus 3 over 5. When you have an expression on the top and the bottom, you take care of those individually first. So we're going to take care of the top by itself, okay? We'll leave the 5 on the bottom. On top, we get 2 times 9, which is 18. And then we get 18 minus 3 gives us 15, which will then give us 3. All right, our next one, number 11. Order the numbers from least to greatest. So we need to go least to greatest. We need to find a common denominator between all 3 of these, between 8, 2, and 3. Okay, I believe our common denominator is probably going to be 24. Yeah, it's going to be 24. So we're going to need to multiply each of these where we have a 24 on the denominator. So for negative 3/8, we're going to multiply that denominator by a 3 to get to the common denominator. So that fraction becomes negative 9 over 24. Okay. Next fraction, negative 1/2. To get to a 24 on the bottom, we multiply bottom by 12 and top by 12. So we get negative 12 over 24. And then you know, the last number, honestly, the last number is the only positive number. Okay, so it's going to obviously be the greatest number. So really, we can even just know that that's the last number, 2/3. Okay? And then we need to know what the least is and then the next one. So we're going to compare these two numerators, negative 9, negative 12. Remember that the bigger the negative number, the smaller the number actually is. So that means our negative 12 over 20, which is our negative 1/2, is going to come first. And then we will do our negative 3/8. So that is the proper order on number 11. All right, on number 12 and 13, we got some true and false here. If it is false, give a counterexample. First of all, we have number 12. All real numbers are rational numbers. Okay, can we think of a real number that is not a rational number? This one might be a little tricky, but this is actually false. And the reason it's false is because there are some real numbers that are not rational numbers, and those would be your irrational numbers, okay? Your irrational numbers. So you could use any irrational number as a counterexample. So we could use pi or square root of 7. Both of those are irrational numbers, so that's why this statement would be false, okay? Number 13, natural numbers are also whole numbers. Okay, natural numbers, if you remember, start at 1, 2, 3, and whole numbers start at 0. However, all of your natural numbers can be found in the whole number set, so this is in fact true. All right, so let's go ahead and look at number 14. Number 14 is 12 minus a negative 3. All right, on subtraction problems, if you remember, you need to change it. So we change this to a plus, and then we change the negative 3 to a positive 3. So this becomes 12 plus 3, which is 15. All right, number 15, we're adding two negative numbers. If you remember the song, it says same sign, add and keep. So because these have the same sign, we're going to add the two numbers and keep the sign. 17 plus 4 is 21. And then since they're both negative, we keep that sign. All right, number 16, negative 27 divided by negative 3. The negative divided by negative is always positive. So 27 divided by 3 is 9. All right, let's look at number 17. We're first going to take care of this exponent. We have negative 3 squared, that's going to become 9. So we get 9 plus, and then 9 times a negative 3. Positive times negative is negative. So we're going to take 9 and add a negative 27 to it. Okay, these two numbers have different signs, so we subtract. Take the sign of the bigger number. So the difference in 27 and 9, you will get 18. And then take the sign of the bigger number, so it's negative 18. All right, on number 18, we're going to change it. Okay, so we have a negative 1/12 plus a 3/4. We really need to find a common denominator between 12 and 4. Okay, 4 will go into 12, so 12 will be our common denominator. So we need to multiply this fraction up here, this 3/4. We're going to multiply top and bottom by 3 to get that common denominator. That gives you 9/12. So what we have is a negative 1/12 plus a 9/12. If you look at your numerators, we have a negative 1 and a 9. One's negative, one's a positive. So we take their difference. 9 minus 1 is 8. It's 8 over 12, and it's positive because you take the sign of the bigger number. And then this will reduce. Divide top and bottom by 4, that does reduce to 2/3. All right, let's go ahead and look at number 19. On number 19, if they are mixed numbers, I recommend that you turn them into improper fractions. So this one over here, you multiply the denominator times the whole number. 2 times 4, you get 8, plus 1 is 9. So you get 9 over 4 times, all right, 7 and 6/7. That turns into 49. 7 times 7 is 49. Plus 6, you get 55 over 7. Okay, so now we multiply across. All right, 9 times 55. All right, I'm going to do this off to the side here. 55 times 9, because we don't use calculators, but we can do this by hand. 495, so we get 495 over 28. You can leave that as an improper fraction. Okay, let's skip on down to the next section. We have 1/4 times 2 minus 8a. We're going to do distributive property on these. I'm not going to explain each and every single one of these. Some of these I might just go through and work it, and you can see if you get the same answer. Okay, 1/4 times 2. That's going to give us 2/4 minus 8 divided by 4. So basically you're taking 1/4 times 8. So what's a fourth of 8? A fourth of 8 is going to be 2. So it's going to be minus 2a. Then you can reduce the 2/4 to 1/2. So it's 1/2 minus 2a. All right, number 21, negative 6 times 3x is negative 18x. Negative 3 times negative 6 is positive 18. All right, let's look at number 22. If you remember, when there's just a negative sign out front, that actually is a -1. So we're taking -1 times positive 3y, which will give you -3y. -1 times 7 is -7. So your answer is -3y minus 7. Number 23, 8 times -3b gives you -24b. 8 times 1 gives you 8. All right, let's get to the next ones here where we need to combine our like terms at the end. Okay, we have -2 times 3x and -2 times 7. So we get -6x minus 14. Then we have 3 times x and 3 times 6. Now 3 is positive, x is positive, so it's going to be a positive 3x. 3 times 6 gives you positive 18. Then we combine our like terms. We have -6x and positive 3x. That will give us -3x. And then -14, positive 18 gives you a positive 4. Okay, on number 25, we get -2 distributed to the y and to the 7. So we get -2y. And the -2 times 7 is -14. We have a minus with the parentheses. Remember, there's a 1 there. So we have -1 times y. That gives us -1y. And then -1 times 8 gives you -8. Combine our like terms. We have -2y and -1y. Same sign, add and keep, so we get -3y. Minus 14 and minus 8 gives you -22. All right, just about over here. Let's do our last two. 8 will go to x and -6. So we have 8x, and then 8 times -6. Positive times negative is negative, and then 8 times 6 is 48. Now, something that a lot of students do is they try to take this 8 times 10. This 10 is separate. It's by itself. You just add it on at the end, a positive 10. This does not have to be multiplied with anything, okay? It's not in the parentheses, so the 8 can't reach it, all right? So then we get 8x, and then -48 plus 10 gives you a -38. All right, on our last problem, we have 1/2 times 8x. What's half of 8? 4x. Then 1/2 times -4. Positive times a negative means negative. And then half of 4 is 2. Then we have 2 times x and 2 times 7. So we have plus 2x. Positive 2 times positive 7 plus 14. Combine our like terms at the end, so we have 6x. And then -2, positive 14, take their difference, we get 12. Take the sign of the bigger number, we get positive 12. All right, if there's any of these problems that you have questions on, please come and see me either after school on Wednesday, today basically, or Thursday morning. So thank you for listening.